Hey, what's up? We're gonna read more Toki just now, but before we start, I wanted to bring something very important to everyone's attention. So this here is the blog of Reitz, the woman who writes Saki, and on this blog she provides a lot of kind of like world building and background information, sort of like Oda's SBS. And like the SBS, sometimes you kind of feel like maybe she's not being 100% serious or answering super honestly. But in this latest one, she dropped some lore, which blew my mind. So we're using Google Translate here, and of course it's not going to be perfectly accurate, but it's gonna get you at least a pretty good sense of what she's talking about. And I read a more robust human translated version of it earlier, and I honestly thought they were just making it up until I tried kind of struggling through it a bit myself and Google translating it, but whatever. Um, uh, so homosexuals, over half of the characters in the world are gay, including married people. About 20% are bisexual in this world. This IPS, which is the idea of two women making a child together via like extracting of stem cells and using that to fertilize an egg in their partner. More than half the characters are the children of two women. And in this world, same-sex marriage is possible. So isn't that lovely? Isn't that... This is exactly what we had all hoped was the case. And this is the truth of the Sakiverse, where other things like underwear doesn't exist, supernatural powers are common, Mahjong is like the most popular game ever, and people take it super seriously, and blah blah blah. And now we finally have full confirmation that in this world as well, the big gay is real. So it's not just in our heads. It's not just because we have our Yuri goggles on too tight or anything like that. It's just the truth of the matter. Okay, so in the last chapter, let's just take a look at what was going on there. We got the end of the flashback. We saw Toki and Ryuka in the same class together. She wanted to be friends with Toki so badly. And that's when the first chapter syncs up with the end of this flashback. So now, with color pages in the next issue, we see them return to their conversation that they're having in Ryuka's room, where Toki had just first confessed, accusing Ryuka of loving her and saying, like, I understand now why you treat me the way you treat me. It's because you love me. Which is a really, really wonderful scene. I was really moved, really impressed. But now, what will happen now? Sorry for telling you this so suddenly. I said I'd tell you everything one day. I haven't sorted out my feelings yet. So she's showing her inside her necklace the seeds that remind her always of Hamu Hamu, her hamster. And here we have another nice color page. Now Toki holding the necklace. Wonderful cherry blossoms blooming all around them. It's springtime. It's finally arrived. Wow, Rika-chan, it must have been so hard for you. Toki rushes to embrace her. All I've done with my life so far is fool around. It's kind of interesting. Because, you know, we see their relationship as high schoolers. We see how their love has developed to that point. And it's like, at that point, Ryuka is definitely kind of the dependable one, and Toki has her frailness and her fainting spells and all of that, and Ryuka is just kind of supporting her and allowing herself to kind of be guided by Toki, but also, supporting Toki's health. So here, though, it's kind of like, in this situation, they're sort of in the opposite. Ryuka's in a place of severe emotional vulnerability and kind of loss and discomfort. And it's Toki who is the stable one, is the beam of support here. Nice, nice. Give it all you had. That's amazing. It's so great. So many things I've kept to myself. I'm sorry. First met you, I thought, the kind of cheerful, athletic, and stylish girl who was liked by everyone. Fickle and careless like any other cool kid. Same impression as everyone else. Different from the others, Toki-chan. You found the real me. Especially told me yourself. Of course, their exchange diary. Oh my god, I love the exchange diary so much. Oh, the exchange diary is so lovely. What a beautiful concept. Oh, it's so good. Show it to everyone if you do that. Oh, yeah, I don't know about that. That seems pretty intense. Can't. Even Mom didn't understand. It's pointless. I've already given up on that. Now I have you, and that's me. That's... Oh, this is getting so intense. This is like now actual mutual confession territory. It's like, okay, so I say all this stuff about... We read Ritz's blog. We know the truth of this world now. We know that the realm of possibility is wide open. And yet I feel like there's still lines. That there's still a line that they won't cross. And yet they're like prodding up against it. They're pushing up against it. That's all I need. Shut away. Safe and secure in my own world. Ooh. But okay, so this is interesting. Like on the one hand, I really just want to see some nice Yuri action. You know, like I love that. I love that. And this is so romantic. This is so, but it's also kind of like codependent, right? Like it's it's like maybe unhealthily romantic. This total abandonment of ever outwardly being yourself and allowing your real self to confine just within one person. That's like not actually good. And you can see Toki is like kind of freaking out about it. So this is pretty crazy that they're doing the Yuri bait, right? Which is not at all outside the realm of normality for Saki. But then they're actually kind of putting some nuance to it too. That it's like not just a positive. It's not just there for us to be happy and excited about. It's like actually like, oh wait, but is this good for their mental health? Like, is this actually what they should be doing to become fuller, better people? You know? Totally understand how you feel. I used to feel that way too. I'm in my building blocks in my own world. But might not be safe, but it's fun. And there's a world out there where even I can do great things. And she thinks of the mahjong board. A perfect example of a kind of dangerous place, a place where you have to put yourself out there, a place that's reliant on other people existing, but is great, is fun, is enriching, where you can really find yourself. Guess who told me about all this fun? It is me, who's found by you, Rika-chan. Oh, this is so great. Look at that. Look at that. That power. For you, Toki-chan, but I already have. Ooh, yeah. And she thinks back to when she was gloomy about Hamu's tragic death. And how her friends seem to recoil, seem to want that stable vision that they have of her to exist instead of the real her. If you're with me, that's good enough for me. At school, I'm fine as long as I can talk with you. Even at mahjong, as long as you're there. Bored, Rika-chan. Not that strong yet. Besides, 1v1 mahjong is really boring. It is. You might think it's exciting because you can make bigger hands, which is true. You can make bigger hands, and you can kind of get away with a lot more because there's only one hand that you can possibly deal into. So yeah, it progresses slower. There's slower hands, and you can play more risky. So that kind of sounds exciting, but it's actually quite dull. It's like there's no thrill anymore. And when you win big hands, it's like, oh yeah, but it's only 2-player. I don't recommend it. 3-player is like, it's a little sketchy, but you can do it. If you're gonna play 4-player, you might as well play some dummy hands too, just to kind of make things interesting. But yeah, no, you need to go out and make more friends. Don't worry about that. My priority has always been to think about the best way to let you win the hand. What? Oh, don't say that now. Well, she must hear how this sounds. How creepy this is getting, right? Like, she must realize that there is something even further beyond this. That she's going for kind of this weird local maximum. You got to do some annulling. Sometimes I deal to your hand in purpose, but not always. There are times you won with your own skill. Oh, Ryuka, why would you say that? I mean, why would you do that in the first place? That's like a big no-no. Like in the second chapter of Saki, Saki does that, right? She feels bad that Yuki's always losing, and then she deliberately lets Yuki win, and Nodoka figures it out, and she's like, don't ever, ever, ever do that. Do not, do not, do not. And then it never happens, right? Like, it thoroughly condemns it. And it's kind of cool, because the whole idea of, like, Moe Mahjong, this was kind of a novelty when Saki first came out. It's hard to think of now, but Saki was the first one. Ritz was the genius who saw Moe and Mahjong and thought, put them together. So it's like this idea of you feel bad for the losing characters, so you naturally would think like, oh, like maybe just let her win. Like if you're just gonna beat her all day every day, like that seems kind of rude. Let her win a couple times. But no, it devalues the whole game aspect of it. The Moe can't detract from the Mahjong when it comes down to people sitting at the table. It has to be cutthroat. It has to be the real deal. And now Ryuka is committed this unforgivable sin of tainting the Mahjong experience with her affections for Toki. Buy a man you won from Yoko and Zumi-chan. You won it with your own skill. And then when you against them, physics, that was great. Ooh. She's thinking all the way back. Did I win that hand only because you dealt into me on purpose? And this might seem silly. This might seem like, yet again in Saki, they're taking Mahjong too seriously. But it's really important for Toki right now. Because Toki's heard this whole story about how Riko loves her hamster and was always kind of caught in this dilemma of like wanting to spoil it, but then not wanting to do things that were bad for its health. And then in the end, having this tragic sense of loss and going, I wish I had just spoiled you this whole time. And then finding out that Rika initially was so obsessed with Toki just because she reminded her of her hamster. So now it's like Toki's thinking, like, oh my god, am I just a hamster to you? Like, is everything you're doing just spoiling me? Like, or are you actually treating me like a human being? Like, what is this love you have for me? Is it an actual human on human sort of love? So I can totally understand why. Oh man, but this is getting serious. Look at this. Shoving the exchange diary at Ryuka as if, and crying as if this is it. As if this is the end of the relationship. But we know it's not. See, I was talking about this with Kaze-san too. That it's kind of interesting when they do story structuring such that the tension is diffused. There's no like mystery. There's no suspense of whether or not they'll end up together. Because we know, we've seen things set far in the future from this and that they're together. So it's like, it's it's just like the emotionally compelling part, but no actual mystery. I don't know. It's like, how do they pull this off? Because I'm still caught up in this. I still feel emotionally invested in this, but I know what's gonna happen. Oh man, Toki diving into the futon. I won't deal into your hand on purpose ever again. Good. Good. You learn your lesson. Oh, Toki's so sad. Oh, this is so sad. But what is more beautiful than reconciliation? Than forgiveness and coming to understand one another. And where there is a reconciliation, there must have been a sundering. Toki-chan already left. Doesn't want to talk to you. Look at how little sleep Ryuka got. You can tell. The bags under her eyes. Remembered something she had to do and left. Oh, your eyes are red. Toki-chan's eyes are red too. Ah. Oh man, and she's even gonna tell her mom, we're breaking up. We're breaking up. What you can see in front of you isn't always the truth. I thought I understood that. The diary, Ruka, and the mahjong table. Didn't really understand after all. I understand that now. Thanks for the meal. Is this a riddle? Yeah, okay, that doesn't really explain anything for your poor mother. She just thinks you're depressed and poetic and confused and maybe going through some sort of chunibyo phase. But whatever. You've been hanging out with some chuny girls lately. I guess that's not so unreasonable. It's pretty brutal though, really. Because, like, it came at such a terrible time, too, where she was basically saying to Ruka, like, you're too good. You're too amazing of a person to let the real you always be masked by this facade for everyone else, right? It shouldn't just be me. Like, you say it's fine that it's just me, but it's not. Like, you really could be so much more than this, right? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I like that. And then, right when she's saying that, Ryuka is kind of like showing that it's not even that it's just Toki, or at least this is in Toki's mind. Toki is thinking like, no, you're not even being your real self to me. You were lying that whole time about my mahjong skill. You were deliberately dealing in just because you liked watching me win. Like, you think that it's okay if you're just your real self around me and no one else, but you're not even your real self around me. That's brutal. The two layers she had to endure at that time. One layer, just enough to get her motivated to try to help out her girlfriend. And then the next layer, just like, no, there's no helping her. Like, what can you even do if she can't even be her real self around you? It reminds me, you should listen to the album Blisters or Soil. But actually, just listen to both of those by Serpent with Feet. This is a common thematic message in his lyrics. That I can't do anything unless you show me yourself, right? I don't care what other problems come with that. I don't care who it is that you end up actually being. But I want you to show me who you really are. And then maybe, you know, something can come from that. Alright, so Toki goes in her room. Busts out the calligraphy kit. Oh my gosh. That's hardcore. What is she writing? Notice of this dissolvement of friendship. Friendship ended with Ryuka. Now loneliness is my best friend. Never seen that look into Toki-chan's face before. I wouldn't mind it too much if someone dealt into me on purpose. Is it really that bad? I mean, come on. She thought I only think of her as a replacement for Hemamu? Yeah, that's kind of close. That's closer. It's not just the fact that you dealt into her hand, of course. It's what that represents in terms of how you see each other, right? And what it represents that you kept that from her, that you still thought of yourself as removed from her. Never think of her as a replacement. Maybe I do, a little, just a little. Oh, okay. That's good. That's actually really interesting that she acknowledges it herself. Proper apology to her in the exchange diary. Oh no. Oh, what does Toki have? What super dramatic chunibyo type move did she make? Look at her outfit. That's so chuny. Ah. Oh, Toki. She's got a letter for Ryuka-chan. What are Toki's written feelings? All right, well, that's the end of that chapter. We will find out in the next chapter what Toki wrote in her letter. I don't know how long this kind of angst breakup arc is going to go. It's a real staple of Yuri series that are at around the point where the relationship is kind of crossing a major line into mutual acknowledgement and stuff. There's some sort of rift, there's some misunderstanding, there's some argument, whatever. It's pretty expected at around this time. It's just like you wonder, like how substantial is this going to be? How many chapters will we have to suffer before the glorious payoff? And the longer you suffer, the more relief you'll have when they reconcile. So it's like I don't know. I never really know what I want from these arcs. I never really know what I'm hoping to happen. But I'm still really impressed. I really do think this series is pretty great. Even though it's so fan servicey, even though it's like a spin-off of a spin-off, basically. Like these are such tertiary characters in Saki. And yet, I love it. All right, let's read the next chapter.